Greetings, you Corsairs and Harlequins. I'm CJ. This is Josh. This is the biggest book of my 40K career.
Okay, then.
I started with Eldar.
It's Codex Aeldari,
Eldari, yes.
a.k.a. Space Elves.
When I started, this is what the Codex looked like. Granted, this isn't entirely... This is only a part of the Codex. This is one of the supplements they
Sure,
released.
you had to buy...
Specifically for the Craftworlds, but this lets you do... this is where a lot of the stuff that you'll see in this book was born, basically.
Back when the Canine helmets looked like the Corn Warrior helmets, and that was probably not a coincidence.
Yeah.
I think they've dropped that since then.
But, like, yeah, Iondan is, like, this is where it started. All the things we associate with Iondan, Siamhan, Alaitak, Bieltan. This all matters to people who know what Eldar are.
I think I joked about this in a previous episode. I used to think that I didn't like Eldar sculpts because of their age.
No.
Now we've seen these new sculpts, and I realize I just don't
You
like
just
Eldar
don't care
sculpts.
for Eldar.
Well, with some exceptions, and we'll
Yeah.
get to that.
Yeah, there are some winners.
But this Codex
Has a lot going on.
A lot of buzz has been going on. I'm sure
Yeah.
more competitive-minded people will have a lot to say about the state
And-
of the
and-
book,
and
and we'll
there's-
touch on it.
Yeah, there's been a lot said already about the Avatar, about Shroud Runners. Shroud Runners have been out for a minute. Rangers, we don't have to touch on that. It's all fine. But yeah,
So how do we want to handle this? Because are we just going to do a 40,000 foot view of...
no, I've got...
You got specific things you want to
These
touch
are
on?
specific things. Yeah, these are specific things, specific changes that I noticed from the last Codex on the stuff that hasn't really been like covered to death.
Okay.
Right?
So Eldar did get an 8th edition Codex.
yes.
They were not considered very good in 8th edition.
No. Well,
They were the terrors of 7th edition, if I recall correctly.
they were the terrors of 5th edition,
5th edition.
7th edition, 6th edition. They were pretty beefy too.
Okay.
But in 8th edition, they were an army kind of without a place. Fitting, really.
So they're kind of like Windows, where every odd one is good.
Yeah, kind of. Something like that.
Except now we're backwards on that because they skipped 9 and went to 10, and 10 was okay, and now 11's terrible. So I guess it's evens. Anyway,
Focus.
no, I refuse.
Anything to not talk about Eldar, I guess. but-
I don't hate Eldar.
So the new rules for the Eldari. I'm gonna just call them Eldar. I'm sorry, I'm old.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a call from my lawyers. You can't do that.
Heresy grows from idleness.
So in 7th edition, Eldar, as they were still called at that time, were
Because that was the pre-lawsuit days.
had just a whole bunch of stuff they could do. Their fighters were the best on the field, like jet fighters were the
Right.
best on the field.
Planes.
They had the ability to move and shoot, and with
Fire
the
and fade, right?
Yeah. Battle focus, actually, is what it was. And when the Ynnari came out, they were absolute monsters because all of a sudden you could do out-of-sequence shooting and then do in-sequence shooting and then, run away and get out of range. And then you had a demon running around and then, it was glorious.
As any Age of Sigmar player in today's meta will tell you, out-of-sequence shooting is incredibly powerful.
It is.
And the ability to move after shooting is very, very good.
Yes.
And they can still kind of do that. And boy howdy, looks like they're going to be terrifying because of it.
Yeah. So battle focus is back in the way it mostly was. You can advance and shoot with assault weapons, no problem. And then you can I call it shoot and scoot.
Yep.
With a D6 if you did not advance.
If you're a Rattling player, it's a shoot, sharp, and scarper
Yeah. Exactly.
for the 2 Rattling players that are
Yeah,
out
and
there.
that's the big thing about this book is anything you can do, I can do better. Is the name of the game for the Eldari now?
That's also their favorite song. I'm
Yeah,
fairly certain. It's nothing if not thematic.
It's their national anthem. But yeah, like battle focus. Hey, you know how the Tau can jump around with their jetpacks? Yeah, we can do that anyway. Strands of Fate is their new big thing. Miracle dice, Destiny dice, by any other name. Little tweaked for the sake of 40K, but
right.
so you get so if you're playing a Strike Force mission, so you roll 6 dice, you retain 4 of them in a Strike Force mission, and for whatever you retain, you spent the Strands of Fate to change it. It is an unmodified 6.
Okay, there we go.
an unmodified 6, which is very important
Right.
because
that triggers certain things like shurikens
Yep,
having
the
AP and
the special 6.
right,
Mhm.
the almighty 6.
The special 6, yeah.
Praise the 6.
Another big thing that they've got is for all the Wraithbone units, or a lot of them at least. It's a new I just call it WBF. Wraithbone form. It is a flat reduces damage, incoming damage by 1.
Ah, okay, so it's a bit like the
Yeah.
if you can't tell, I'm mostly an Age of Sigmar player. So the coalesced Seraphon,
Yes.
who reduce all damage by 1 to a minimum of 1. You can't.
Yeah, same
you
here.
don't get,
You don't get 0 damage.
AKA screw your multi damage.
Yeah. Shuriken, wounds on a 6 gives you -2 AP.
Yep.
It used to be like -3, and then they were talking like, oh, well, maybe it's -4. Like, no, it's -2 AP.
But their shuriken guns in general are -1 AP now.
Yes.
That's something that always bugged me about shuriken guns. Is there these like I know there's always a disconnect between lore and gameplay for lots of reasons, and I don't want to complain about that.
Sure.
But shuriken guns are what are specifically said to be these. I mean, they're called monofilament shurikens, right? Like, as in, it's a single molecule, which is in theory so sharp that it will go through anything.
Right.
AP 0. Unless you got a 6 to wound, then they were AP 3, I think.
Yeah.
I'm thinking from Kill Team.
Yeah, they were AP 3 up until this book came out.
So now they're
AP -1.
with a cap out at AP -2.
Yes.
Which, so, lower ceiling,
Yeah.
but you're not 6 fishing as much. You're not crit fishing.
Yeah, no, they're now essentially assault bolt rifles.
But bolt rifles don't get a extra AP to 6.
No,
hit
but
per
their
round.
base thing.
Right, yeah. What's the range on those?
18 inches on a
okay,
shuriken
so they're short
catapults. Relatively short range. They used to be 12 inches.
So they're 18 inches. So they're still short range,
Mhm.
which kind of compensates for the fact that you can shoot and move.
Yeah, and they're 2 shots
And they're
each.
assaults.
Yeah, 2 shots each. 2 shoots each.
Two
Wow.
shoots each.
2 shoots each. The Avenger Shuriken catapult has been upgraded to have an additional shot now, because it used to be Shuriken catapults were 12-inch range,
Yeah.
and the Avengers were 18 inches, which was huge.
Right, yeah. I remember from Kill Team, the
Yeah.
Avengers had a slightly longer range.
Mhm.
And your Exarch could dual wield them. Can he still dual wield them? I'm assuming he can because they built the kit like that.
Yes, but
Though it wouldn't be the first time they removed options from a kit that had options before.
We'll get to that. D-cannons and the like have been updated as well. Now instead of D-cannons that are like they inflict a mortal wound on a 6 to wound.
Okay. In addition to? Okay.
And they're D6 the ones that are on the support weapon are D6 +2, strength 12, AP -4. Yeah, they're nasty. Death Spinners are now, they used to be like, to wound rolls give you or on a 6 it gives you -4. Now it's a -2. Period. Flat -2. We're trying to keep this trying to keep the game flowing, basically.
Yeah. Lord knows 40K has enough rules.
So advanced position, by the way, infiltrate. You know what that does. Sudden
you come
assault
in from the side.
Keeping that in. Yeah.
Good.
Sudden assault is a deep strike where you come in from the other side.
Oh, you got to go farther. Come in farther.
I can't reach that far.
You deep striked in, but you failed your charge.
Yeah.
You rolled a.
I deep struck.
You needed that 9.
needed a
You rolled
9,
that
yep.
7.
So
when
that's
happens.
nothing new.
No.
So let's get talking about. We're not going to talk about special characters that much. I just want to touch on a couple of things.
Eldrad's still a jerk.
Yeah, Eldrad is always a jerk.
This is character arc.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a character line.
Singing Spears and Witchblades still always wound on 2. The only difference is now the Witchblade has an extra damage and a -1 AP. The Singing Spear in melee is damage 3 but no AP. And then it's still got a shooting attack. But yeah, so Farseers never ever peril. And they can and I already talked about their Strands of Fate thing. So why would you take an Autarch instead, of which you can only take 1 with every detachment? Well, they refresh your command reroll strat, so you get to do it twice. Everything you can do, he can do better, or she, in actually my case, because I built it with the breastplate. Yeah, whatever.
Oh, so you bought yours from Wargame exclusive? Okay.
Much ado has been made about Malgan Ra already, and I'm sure when when the story beats come up for the rest of the Phoenix Lords, which they will, because if they're going to make much ado about Malgan Ra, they're going to update the rest of these guys.
Well, to be fair, Jane Czar is pretty new.
Yeah, Jane Czar is already is new.
Unfortunately, everyone ignored her because she was in one of the worst box sets GW has ever released, and one of the most poorly selling ones as far as I know.
Yeah.
Because when you take two Xenos armies, pit them against each other, and give them very low model count box
Nobody
sets,
cares.
Nobody buys it. Stop doing it, Games Workshop.
Yeah.
Stop putting small model count Xenos armies against each other and then wondering why people only buy the nicely spiced. You know what? I'm going to keep that in. The nicely spiced Space Marine boxes.
Yeah.
Nicely
Spirit
priced.
Seers, by the way, speaking of models that got updated within the last 10 years. Spirit Seers, now they, if you have a Craftworld Spirit Host core, that's your Wraith Guard and your Wraith Blades.
Fun fact,
Yes.
Wraith Guard and Wraith Blades were some of the first Games Workshop models I ever bought. They're not great looking because they were some of the very first things I ever painted.
As you do.
But all the way was nice and easy. Black body and a bone head. I think I bought them because I was going to use them as some kind of construct for D&D. But that was the very first thing.
It's a good time.
Very first Games Workshop models I ever bought and painted.
So Wraith
built
Blades,
poorly.
Yeah, Wraith Blades, Wraith Guard, and the Wraith Lord all count for Spirit Mark.
Right.
Which gives you a reroll of 1 to wound. However, the Wraith Knight is not core, and so you can't use it on him. So can't use it on the big boy. That's only real. So if you have, like, for every one Farseer, you can take a squad of Warlocks that don't take up a Force Organization slot. I'm sure that matters to somebody, but not to me. Yeah. Guardians have an ability that makes them reroll a specific thing that matters to their particular O4 when they're in range of an objective. So if it's the Guardian Defenders with their Shuriken weapons, they reroll 1s to hit if they're on an objective. Storm Guardians reroll 1s to hit in melee because they're the melee focused ones. And the and the bikes get to do it too. The Guardian jet bikes get to do it, but only with their Shuriken catapults. So if you kitted them out with scatter lasers or Shuriken cannons, you're out of luck. But Shuriken cannons and scatter lasers are really, really good. So Exarchs are now you upgrade them like you do Magos, the Holy Orders in Admech. So they get buffs, and they also get, basically superpowers. This is in contrast to the way that they used to have Exarch powers, where you just pick 1 or 2,
right?
And then they changed it up again, so it was part of their stat line. Now it's just like, okay, your options are here.
Good.
You have all the options, and they are all not worth considering. They're all worth considering.
There you go. I was waiting for it.
They're all eventually.
I'm
super hyped, guys.
Good internal balance.
Yes.
So something I will say, there's been a lot of talk about book balance.
Yes.
And we've complained about the GW treadmill of books that is ramping up. Someone's sitting at that gym and hitting the up button as you're running.
Yeah.
Part of that treadmill
is... look like I run to you. Come on.
Well, you will now, boy. Keep up with these codexes.
Yeah.
Part of that is that the 9th edition codex, the power level between a 9th edition codex and an 8th edition codex is substantial. The power level between these more recent 9th codexes and, like, the Space Marine codex is substantial.
Yes.
The specific chapters of Space Marines are doing a little bit better, and in some cases a lot better, but even then...
Hi, Black Templars.
Yeah. But I will say, to GW's credit, I obviously am reading this book as somebody who's not played 40K nearly enough, but I don't look at this and see a bunch of duds and one very clear winner.
No.
The internal balance of this book, and of, honestly, most of the last few codexes, but we're here to talk about Eldar, so I'll talk about Eldar. The internal balance of this book, with some exceptions, it seems pretty good. which is nice. It's nice that it's nice that we're not staring down the barrel of an Iron Hand situation.
Yeah.
Where if you want to play Space Marines, you played one thing, or if you want to play in Guard, you played Cadians and nothing else.
Armageddon. Weeps for these people.
or if you wanted to play Orcs, you only played Speedwa at the start of this edition, which before they nerfed the heck out of it.
Yeah.
And thank goodness.
Yeah, for sure.
Using on turn 1 before you got to react.
Yeah.
Boy, the power level spike is pretty drastic between this and other things.
For sure.
I don't want to call there's a lot of cynicism in regards to the new codex is always better.
Of course it is. Nobody knows how to play against it yet.
I'm not even counting that.
Yeah.
Coming from Age of Sigmar, where that is like a patently untrue statement in a lot of situations, the things that are dominating AOS right now, with the exception of dragons, like 1 unit, boy howdy, it's not the new 3rd edition codexes. It's old stuff that hasn't been brought in line yet. Anyway, we're talking about Space Elves.
So Exarchs now can also take relics.
Good.
Their own relics. I mean, there's 1 relic each.
They gave every hero unit a relic. I saw.
Yeah,
mostly. And some have more than 1.
No.
Oh no! Didn't somebody have more than 1? Or am I thinking generics?
You're thinking generics.
I'm thinking generics.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a relic they can take.
Yeah.
Which is good,
and they're
good.
great. They do the things that are really, really important for that.
Yes, they synergize well with the thing.
Yeah, they do the thing.
They do the thing that you were already doing and make it slightly better.
Yeah. Which
on the one hand kind of makes it a duh, you'd take this.
Well, of course you'd take this.
But it does take a relic slot in your army.
Yeah.
That you might be using for something else.
Yeah.
Which is good. It's good when they engender choice by giving you lots of good options and not going, well, you have 1 good relic.
Good luck.
Well, you're taking Amulet of Destiny and nothing else.
Getting back into the Aspect Warriors. Warp Spiders,
Warp Spiders who did not get a new model.
Nope.
And are not getting new models, as you can see on, what page was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, judging by the fact that they put the old Warp Spiders and the old Striking Scorpions and the old Fire Dragons and the old Swooping Hawks.
You don't know what the old Striking Scorpions looked like.
I know they looked even worse.
However,
but page 62 and 63.
I want you to look at yes, there's the Warp Spider. It has not changed since at least 2003.
See, I'm looking at the Warp Spider Exarch on 62.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah. It's the same one. I own 2 of these.
These models are old enough to vote.
They're old enough to drink.
If they were from 2003, not quite.
No, they were from before that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they came out with 3rd edition.
So 1994?
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, these remain some of the oldest kits in 40K.
Yeah.
And
some of them are even good.
See, here's the thing. Like, Swooping Hawks, I think, are some of my favorite Eldar models.
Yeah.
Swooping Hawks look amazing. I wish Swooping Hawks... Aren't they resin?
Yes. For now. So Swooping Hawks, speaking of, so Warp Spiders get a redeploy. If you're an Age of Sigmar player, you know what that is. But basically, they just hop back.
They shoot and then scoot.
Redeploy.
Shoot and
scoot if you get charged.
Yeah, redeploy specifically if you move into range of them. Do they move back and
the first time each phase this unit is selected as a target of a charge, not in engagement range, it moves up to 6 inches away.
Ah, that annoying thing.
Yeah. But
So
they're the only ones that can do that.
Right.
And there's a whole bunch of nonsense about the Warp Spider jump generator. It's basically if you battle focus with them to get some extra distance, if you roll a double 1, the unit suffers a mortal wound.
Oops.
Yeah. Oops.
That's what you get for trying to jump through the warp.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Swooping Hawks don't get the grenade pack thing that they had before where they, fly over somebody and drop grenades. That's not intrinsic. That's now a stratagem.
Good.
Okay, sure. Why not?
A lot of things that were intrinsic, and this has been true of...
Yeah.
I first noticed it with Admech.
Yeah.
But it was also true of Sisters. Less true of Space Marines. Space Marines kept a lot of their intrinsic stuff.
Yeah.
Which tracks as their status as a beginner army.
Yes, for sure.
The supplements, different story.
Obviously.
But basic Space Marines kept a lot of their stuff intrinsically, kind of like Stormcast did in Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
But I'm noticing a lot of things that were a lot of confusing rules that were intrinsic are now stratagems.
Yep.
Tau especially.
Big time.
Big time for Tau.
Yeah.
And the pattern continues, so we can expect that probably from upcoming codices as well.
Yes. So, Las Blasters, if you're an old school Eldar player, you know how crappy they are. Well, congratulations, they are finally on par with bolters.
Las Blasters?
Yes. They are now bolter strength. And they auto wound on 6s.
Don't everything auto wound on a 6? Oh, 6 to hit.
6 to hit.
Oh, so it's like that one Marksman's Oculus bolt rifle or whatever it's called?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, now they are essentially they're a storm bolter.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, storm bolts are good.
Yeah, no, it's a yeah, they have the same range and they have the same profile essentially because storm bolters are rapid too. But yeah, congratulations. It took 20 years to get Las Blasters to matter.
Well, and we'll see if they actually matter because they're bolters now, but a lot of other things
Right.
are really good.
Hawkstown has -1 AP. Lottie. Power Blades on the Warp Spider Exarch. It's just a +1 attack power sword. Yada.
I mean, you know.
And now here come the honestly some of the cooler ones. The Shining Spears have been completely reworked from the ground up. Now, they're still a cav unit that, like, very much in the way of Rough Riders for Imperial Guard before they got squatted.
And nerfed to oblivion.
Yeah. But, hey, if you made a charge move, you get plus damage.
Good.
You get plus strength, excuse me.
As a Cities of Sigmar player, I'm very, very used to charge moves being very important for hitting things.
Yeah. You subtract 1 to hit. Like, they have hard to hit, basically, like aircraft. Laser Lances do work on the charge. And just in general, because they're strength 6 AP2 or AP4 2 damage gun.
Yeah, right.
So like, oh hey, that's a real meaty Space Marine you got there. Shame if something happened to it.
Hope he has an invuln.
Yep. Warwalkers don't have scout anymore. They have to start on the table like everybody else does. That's not a big problem because they move 10. Otherwise they didn't really get changed all that much. Dark Reapers are their inescapable accuracy used to be a thing that knocks out the hard to hit rule on aircraft. It's not that anymore. Now it takes away dense cover. All of the benefits of dense cover. Basically, if you shoot them with the Star Swarm missiles, you're killing at least 2. You're probably killing at least 2 Marines. And if you use the Star Shot missiles, you're probably killing an aggressor.
Which is handy.
Yeah, because it's strength 8, -2, 3 damage. I only have to get lucky once. You have to get lucky every time.
Right.
Support weapons are pretty much the same. They have, if you have a vibro cannon, which is much better now, it's heavy D6, strength 7, -1, 2 damage. If you shoot at something with more than 2 vibro cannons, it automatically hits. And if you hit them with 3 or more, you get +1 to wound until the end of the phase. With everything in your army.
Right, yeah.
because whoever you're shooting at is being turned to jelly.
Right. Splorp.
Yeah. No special 6s for Shadow Weaver. Can still fire out of line of sight. Blast now -2 instead of special 6s for AP4. Falcon Pulse Laser, which is the thing that comes on all Falcons. You cannot get away from it. You cannot replace it. Is now a heavy 2, strength 9, -3, D3 +3 gun. Like, I've seen nastier weapons, but not many. Like, that's deletion right there.
Well, I've told you I've fought tougher men, but I really can't remember when.
It's like, I've worked with better, but not many. Yeah, and they've got their little war gear. All of their war gear options are the same names, but they've just been tweaked a little bit to fit better in the Codex. They get to Cloud Strike, which used to be a stratagem. It's now intrinsic. But yeah, you gotta make sure they're outside of any enemy. The usual, you know. You can only do it in the first, second, and third movement phase, though, regardless of any mission rules. So you always get to do that. Doomweaver is still is a filament gun. Fire Prism has been talked about a bit. but Fire Prison, they've been streamlined. It used to have 3 different profiles. Now it just has 2, and it makes more sense and hurts less in your brain to try and figure out. Wave Serpent, it has a natural transhuman physiology and 5-flip invulnerable. Crimson Hunters are flyer killers again. The Hemlock Wraith Fighter is an interesting one here, though. It's supersonic. It debuffs leadership. It has D-size, which are like flamers, basically.
Right,
Were flamers.
Yeah, they are more or less flamers.
Yeah,
with
they're
more
blast,
AP, with a lot
blast
of AP.
weapons. And 2 damage. And doing the mortal wound on a 6. And it has Wraithbone form. And it has hard to hit. And it's a Psyker.
Flying Psychers alone are always a problem.
Yeah, Flying Psychers alone. But this thing is... I have 3 Crimson Hunters from back when you could actually do that. I think one of them might be getting an upgrade. I'm going to put a little Psyker in there. And finally, the big one that I like to talk about because Pacific Rim is my favorite movie.
Wraith Knights.
Wraith Knights. They lost 2 wounds.
Oh, no.
But don't panic. They now have an intrinsic 5-up save. Or 5-up invuln.
I was going to say, that's not very good, CJ.
Sorry. Their Ghost Glaive has 2 profiles, and one of them does 6 damage on the swing.
Smack.
Yeah. Heavy Wraith Cannon, it's a Wraith Cannon. Star Cannon, or the Sun Cannon, is the nastiest plasma weapon I've seen outside of Call's Wrath.
Heavy 2d6, 8 strength, 3 AP, 3 damage.
Blast. And if you give it a Scatter Shield, it has a 4-up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's pretty much the same. But yeah, WBF, Wraithbone form. Embarrassingly enough, I have no idea if the Harlequins have changed much, but they did. There's been plenty of coverage on it.
They've been changed, if nothing else, by their inclusion in this book.
Yes,
and
they have their own stuff.
Which I know there are some Harlequin players who are upset about this. Personally, but as a not Harlequin player, it seems like a good idea to me because they never struck me as an army with enough units to constitute.
When codices looked like this and were this thin and cost $15. There's no price on this one. It must be old.
They were $15, I remember.
Yeah, they were $15 to $20 for the big ones. And then that was when Harlequins would have been fine.
And you can still run an all Harlequin list.
Oh yeah,
you can still run a complete Harlequin army.
They're still completely street legal.
They're not relegated to the status of Ogrins or Ratlings for Imperial Guard, where they're just this thing you can bring.
Absolutely not.
No, but you can bring them, which fits very well in with their lore and their stuff like that, where there's kind of meant to be.
Yeah.
And if you play Ynnari, you can bring them and some Drukhari.
You sure can.
And some very, very, very scary lady with a very weird haircut.
Yeah. Incubi and Scourges can be taken in a Ynnari army for +4 and +2 points each. Otherwise, everything is as you imagine. Yeah, so the Ynnari is the next thing on my list to talk about. She has a base transhuman physiology and a 4-up invuln.
Yeah.
Hey, hit her with the plasma rifle, with a special plasma rifle, and she will evaporate.
Right. If you're playing your Vrain, you need to protect her.
Yeah. So she sucks up dead Eldari within 6 inches of her on a 4-up and regains 1 lost wound. And if that other Eldari was a Psyker, she gets a new psychic power until the end of the battle.
Oh, so it's Kirby.
Yeah.
Can she eat a car?
Absolutely not. Well, you have to go to the special part of the internet for that. The Viziarch is a character mulcher. He provides his own lookout sir for your Vrain.
Yeah, he's the bodyguard.
Yeah, he's the bodyguard. And if another Eldari dies near him, he gets a wound back on a 4-up. And if that was a character that died, he gets an extra attack. And in 6 inches of him, he gives reroll 1s to hit.
Continue with the, what is it, Incarnate?
Incarn.
I can never pronounce those names.
Incarn.
Oh, because it's the incarnation
It's the incarnation, yes. It's kind of a pun.
I'm Games Workshop, I'm clever.
Go home, you're drunk. So he's got -1 damage. He's a 3-up, 4-up. That's pretty good. He basically is a telefrag unit.
Right.
Yeah. So when you kill something, it's like, hey, it's the Incarn here to help us.
So it's kind of a reverse telefrag because he doesn't.
Yeah, actually, I thought about that.
Yeah, it's more of a death summon unit.
Yeah.
So in general, the Ennead are based on your things in your army and the enemy army, but also yours dying.
Yeah.
That's always a very, very fine line to walk.
Yeah, it's a razor's edge, but
yeah, because it in general you don't want to lose models.
Mm-hmm. It's been boosted up to T7 and has 12 wounds now instead of 6.
They're trying to. A lot of these things have been boosted defense-wise because the
rest of the game has gone up.
Yeah, the paradigm for damage has multiplied. Drastically. Pretty drastically. People when Codex Space Marines first dropped, people were talking about how overpowered and devastating Eradicators were.
Yeah. Melter rifles are bad, but like,
I mean, they're great.
Yeah.
Like they're incredibly powerful damage.
Bad,
but now
they get shot with.
Now they're just par for the course.
They're kind of
They're now Eradicators aren't particularly great. Now they're slow and they're tough, but they're slow and not that long range.
Back when we didn't know how to deal with them.
We didn't know what was coming. We didn't know what was coming.
So the Incarn Sword is a monster mulcher. You can't take invuln saves against it. It does D3 plus 3. It hits at strength 11 on the piercing strike.
Whack.
Yeah. Bonk. Go to horny jail. Swirling soul energy is its like weird gun thing. It's a flamer, except it hits everything within 6 inches. That's pretty much all I had to talk about. I was looking a little bit at the Craftworld stuff, and I'm like, they're not going to change it that much. They're going to make it a what's the word? They're going to do what they did for the Tau Septs and for the the Shrine Worlds, yeah, or the Holy Orders.
There you go, Holy Orders and the Forge Worlds.
Yeah, Forge Worlds
and the chapters.
Yeah.
Less so the chapters.
Less so the chapters, but when that next
the chapters in the base book before the supplements came out.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like Ulthwé is still every Ulthwé unit has a 6-up invulnerable save and shrugs on a 5-up.
Yeah.
Oh!
Same old.
Yep.
Bieltan has better shuriken guns,
and
Eandon has better
Wraith
constructs. Alteok has better rangers.
Yep.
Samhain is faster and more chargy.
Yeah.
They're the poster boys, supposedly, which is weird because Ulthwé is kind of like the story poster boy.
Yeah. Ulthwé is the story. And I know we're pronouncing it Samhain when it's probably like Sahwain, like the actual
Salmon.
It's
salmon. The fish boys.
Father, tell you not to call my name. Sorry. Samhain.
Oh.
Duh. Don't worry, I'll have to cut that out for copyright purposes.
Yeah, the one line.
Yeah. Let me just final thoughts from
Final
me.
CJ thoughts.
Final CJ thoughts from me. This is a 9th edition codex.
Any last words?
Yeah. Duck. Yeah.
Blow off some steam.
Yeah, this is a 9th edition codex.
And I think at this point we know what that means.
Yeah, if you've been paying attention to how other 9th edition codexes...
The numbers went up.
The numbers go up. Customization went up. Damage and durability, even for Eldar, have gone up.
Yes.
Everybody's been told about the Aspect Warriors having a 5-up invuln and all that. And that's, again, like, through all of them. Like, yeah, the stratagems were rearranged with the innate stuff. Some of the innate stuff is now stratagems. Some of the stratagems are now innate. Everything has their own stuff. This book is absolutely dripping with flavor. Like a good steak.
Flavor.
Or the vegetarian equivalent for those of you who don't eat.
A bad steak?
The point being, it is now easier than ever to make an Eldar army that feels like the Eldar army that you want to play. And whereas 22 years ago, we had to rely on this. God, it hurts every time I say that. To get just a little most basic of buffs. Like now, geez, some of the models in this book are in this book too.
Yeah, that's we got a lot of updates, and we're getting some updates soon. But I weep for the ones that remain unupdated.
Yeah, but no, this is great. This is a wonderful codex. This codex is everything I dreamed of, and well, I didn't really dream of anything. I just wanted a good book.
Oh, you didn't dream of Ivrain? I refuse to believe that.
Now that I have nattered on for what I'm sure is at least 40 minutes or so, what do you think? What thoughts do you have as somebody who doesn't play 40K?
So what's
really?
a 40K? Okay, no. No.
Break the bottle.
What's
All
a
right.
40K, Ma? So,
it's too late.
to me, I read, obviously I looked through these, and a lot of these numbers don't mean a lot to me in practice yet, because I have not started playing yet, really. I mean, I've played a few games of Space Marines. I haven't clicked with them. I'm kind of waiting for my army to come out, hoping Imperial Guard is that. If it wasn't for a lot of the old scopes, I would like this Eldar army a lot better. I do like Wraith constructs a lot.
Yeah.
I've always
really
liked them.
cool.
I think they're pretty cool. I like Rangers.
I don't
know if I like how this army plays, because I'm not a skirmish type of guy. I'm kind of a...
You're a hammer. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an Imperial Guard kind of guy.
Yeah.
I have way more dudes than I have tanks.
Yeah. Eldar have always been... you have one specific purpose with this unit, and if you do not fulfill it, you will die.
And it's thematic. They're not...
And,
They can't take a punch both lore-wise or game-wise.
They can take a punch a heck of a lot better now, but...
Sure, but that's...
Yeah.
They can against 8th edition armies. Against other 9th edition armies, they're going to feel just as squishy as they were. The damage has gone up so much.
Yeah, but everybody, all the aspect warriors, which are the only ones I really care about, you got to 5 up invuln. So.
I'm a little disappointed that the Corsairs. I've talked before that I'm really looking forward to those
Pirate
scopes.
Elves,
Yeah, the Pirate Elves. They're not super featured in this book.
Not really.
Like, you can't take them as mandatory detachments. You can take them as detachments, but they can't fulfill one of your mandatory ones.
Yeah, it's not.
Which basically means you can't use them to fulfill one of your 3 battle line units if you're an AOS player like me.
We call those troops in 40K.
Right, yeah.
Which is just it's what it is.
Well, troops mean something different in AOS. But anyway, you can't really build a Corsair army.
No.
I was hoping that you could kind of do, like, even to a very limited extent, I was hoping you could kind of do like what Tau can do with Kroot.
Oh, yeah, make a
where you
auxiliary.
can't, like, it's not very good.
No, it's not very good.
But you can make an all-auxiliary army. I was hoping you could make a Corsair raiding force.
That'd be kind of cool.
Before the jokes come in, yes, I realize that's what Drukhari for. I don't care.
I was just going to say.
But anyway, like, that's a little disappointing to me, I guess. But it wasn't like I'm going to go build a Corsair army anyway.
Yeah, you still can.
I could still build a Eldar army using entirely Corsair models.
Yeah.
I could do that.
There's going to be a lot of counts as. But
a lot of counts as and a lot of converting.
Right.
You know, I could convert any of these vehicles or these Skyrunners to be Corsair-looking dudes.
Yeah.
Which,
really
on the
don't
other
have to
hand,
work
it's
that
also
hard.
kind of cool that they leave that open to people.
Yeah.
Just from the guy who's, converting motorbikes into my Cities of Sigmar army.
Yeah.
I'm no stranger to that.
Yeah.
That's really the only complaint I had.
Yeah.
That and the models.
That's the worst thing you've got going on, man.
And the models that weren't updated. But that's a bugbear for me personally, as someone who's mostly in this for the models. As we heard me complain about with the Skaven and the Cadians and this and that and this and that.
I don't know why. I don't know who at GW hates Swooping Hawks and Warp Spiders so friggin' much. But yeah, there are some stuff that just cries and screams for a new sculpt.
And maybe in 20 years we'll get it.
Maybe.
And that's what hurts the most. That's mostly what I have to say, though. Obviously, having not had a huge... having not had the breadth of experience that you've had with our spelves.
You woke up this morning and chose violence.
I wake up every morning and choose violence.
God has allowed me to live another day.
I'm going to make it everyone's problem.
Well, if you don't think that you've got enough problems, well, let me tell you, you can break the bank really easy trying to get these new sculpts.
Yeah.
But whatever you do with your new, with maybe your old Eldar army or your new Eldar army, whatever it may be, you are bound to get something out of this. You're going to find something in here.
It's a great
that appeals.
internally balanced book with a lot of different options. I am sure there is one particular thing that is competitively the best. There always is. This is a game where people can solve it very quickly. But that doesn't mean you can't have a lot of fun with a lot of different options.
Yeah.
There aren't many duds in here that I can see.
I don't think there are any duds in here.
Maybe building, there's no real all tank army thing.
No, but that's never been.
No, that's not a thing that Eldar have ever been able to do.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you
can run all Wraith constructs.
Yeah, and that you can run 3 Wraith Knights if you're a madman.
Or hey, maybe you don't want to paint many Eldar. Or if you just really maybe you played Imperial Knights and just really wanted more curves. Picture of your brain goes here. Anyway, she got legs, and she knows how to use them.
Those legs go all the way up. They really do. So if you like our particular brand of stupidity,
speaking of things that don't go all the way up,
if you've enjoyed our particular brand of stupidity today, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the little bell.
Help us to not go the way of the Eldar civilization, doomed to die in the clutches of a kinky chaos god.
And on that disgusting note, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Oh, I had a moment of like, I almost said pirates. I'm like, no, that's Corsairs.
Do what you want, because an Eldar is free. You are a Corsair. Yar.
Okay.